What does equity mean to you guys? What's your honest opinion on equity?
It basically means like when fairness, I guess, that everybody's equal and everybody has like the same rights and obligations.
Exactly. Do you guys think that? Is that your opinion?
Yeah, like it shouldn't matter like what you wear, how you are, like what your skin color or anything. Like everyone should be treated exactly the same.
Everybody should be respected.
Or should there be more done to deal with bullying? I think there should be more done because sometimes teachers will bypass like bullying going on in the classroom. They're kind of like, oh, that's not happening. Like sometimes they catch it, but they won't really do anything unless they're like, I need to tell the principal or I'm going to call the police.
And but I think it's difficult sometimes because sometimes there's bullying and there's sometimes just joking around. I think teachers don't know the difference.
I think that if it's an extreme bullying, it's dealt with to an extreme manner. But for things like in the classroom, if a child's being teased or things like that, I think, yeah, teachers kind of turn their back. But they say, like, stop it, guys. That's as far as it kind of goes. They might get a little talking after class. It doesn't, like, solve the issue.
Yeah, but the teacher can only do so much, especially in terms of cyberbullying. The students have to do their part of bringing it up as well. I don't say it's totally the student's fault, but especially with cyberbullying, the teacher's not going to be going on Facebook and finding these different things. They're going to be going through your email. The onus is on the students to bring it up if it does become a major issue.
That's what I mean by like extreme things, though, because Lockerbie is really good with dealing with cyberbullying issues. I think it's more in the classroom when the teachers either teach a lesson or he's grading things and the kids are talking amongst themselves, or in like the caf in the hallway, some people make fun of what they're wearing or what their hair looks and things like that. Biggest issue.
I kind of disagree because I think that like cyberbullying is like a really big issue, obviously, but like I feel like it's not dealt with properly because it happens so often and like the consequences, like sure if it's an extreme manner, like someone like commits suicide or something, like you hear stories of that all the time, then it's dealt with extremely, right? But if it's like something little, it's still bullying. It's still, I don't know, I feel like it's not dealt with as much as it could be.
Especially when it comes to like if someone's too scared to bring it up because they're like, oh, I'll kill you or like I'll hunt you down and beat you up. Like, they're obviously not going to say anything because they're like, oh, like, I don't want to get hurt. Like, what if no one does anything?
Alright, so how do you guys feel about your resources in your school? Do you think it's accessible to all students? For example, are there methods for people with physical disabilities to travel throughout the school, and are there resources for mental and learning disabilities?
I have a big thing to say about that. I really don't think it's accessible for kids that do have physical disabilities, because they struggle. We have a very long school. There's one elevator, and if you need to get to that elevator, it's quite a long walk. Even for kids who have injuries and broken legs, getting up the staircase is hard, like getting to the elevator. And for kids with like a mental disability, I think that we have a really good resource program and things like that. I think they're given a lot of help, but since I'm not in that situation, I don't know how to.
Couldn't agree more. The accessible entrance is on the opposite side of the school as the elevator. That doesn't really make too much sense, and then if you want to get to the gym, there's only one method, and usually that's filled up with something else, and it doesn't usually work. So I have to agree with the physical disability. It's not at all accessible. Very, very difficult.
Yeah, we have like really long, narrow hallways too, and they're not really made accessible for like regular people that don't have a disability, let alone like someone who's actually injured or physically hurt. And as far as like wheelchairs and that go, our school doesn't have any wheelchair ramps. I don't think we have any wheelchair accessibility.
We have one in front of the tech door.
On the opposite side of the school.
Yeah,
so
yeah, but that's
the elevator. That doesn't make any sense.
Up to the front doors of our school, there's a few flights of stairs and all of that. So that probably makes it really hard. Maybe that's why kids who are in wheelchairs don't go to this school.
Yeah.
We're really made aware. Like there's no kind of presentations or no kind of like resources that can like help us like learn about them and how we can help them, or you know what I mean, how to treat them fairly and respect them. I feel like, I don't know, maybe they should have some sort of presentation or some sort of like maybe like mental health awareness week or something that would help our student body be more aware.
Yeah, in terms of resources, if you do struggle with that, you almost have to really seek it out yourself, because it's not really advertised as we have this and we have this. If you're suffering with a mental disability or if you're suffering with depression, you have to find it yourself if you want something to be done, if you want help.
I totally agree with him when he was saying something about depression or things like that. If you're in a depressive state, you don't really want help at that point in time. I really think that schools should have presentations saying, like, if you do need help, like, there's numbers to call, but make it more known throughout the school, because there are students that deal with it. The ratio of that is actually extremely high, especially in teenagers, as we change and things like that.
Definitely like the idea of an awareness week, because that could get not just depression, but lots of other disabilities that's possible to get as you get older and stuff.
And who do you think is responsible for making an inclusive and equitable school environment, or what can be done to be able to increase that?
I truly think in high school, stereotyping is a huge thing, and it really is not necessary throughout the school, but I find that if a school is more cliquey than others, it can be harder for kids to fit in, and like especially if you're starting in a new school where everyone's already kind of have their groups and their friends, I think it's extremely hard for new students to kind of like find their spot or like to go out of their comfort zone to talk to other groups.
I find what Miss Gaffney did, like with letting the different hair colors and piercings really helps, so people can be like more themselves instead of like having a certain way you have to be.
Yeah, and it can also help people like find their, you know what I mean, people with similar interests and find more friends and, you know what I mean, be able to be open with a lot more people instead of just, say, people like, I don't know, because if everyone's the same, then it's kind of hard to like make yourself different, you know what I mean, and try to befriend other people and stuff like that.
And trying to figure out how to like express yourself can be difficult.
Students, hands down. Absolutely.
I think it's the principal and the teachers.
Well, you could say they can only do so much, though, because if a student's going to choose to include others in their group, it's obviously going to be the student's decision. The principal can't be like, accept them into your group or accept them here. You can't really force students to do that. It's solely up to the students.
I think it's up to the students not to be so judgmental and not judge so much and stereotype.
Because I feel like the teachers really have a big part in doing that. Like, say for example, if you're in class and they're saying, oh, well, we're going to do group work, whatever, and then they let you choose all your own groups, well, then there's always that person who's left out of those few people, when if they, like, put them in, you know what I mean, if they put them into their own groups, or the teacher did it, then people could, like, be forced to make new friendships. I know that sounds bad, but still, like, then once you get to know someone better behind just what their appearance is, then maybe you'll have a better chance of befriending them or something.
I completely agree with her on the teacher thing. It's important when a teacher doesn't let you guys choose your own group, because then you do get to meet people who may not have talked to you in your class, especially at the beginning of semesters and things like that when there's new kids in your classes, and you kind of just try to stay with the person you know closest. I think it's really important, and then it won't be so awkward if you're walking the hallways. Just say hi to the person you've seen or things like that. It makes it more like you have talked before.
I don't know. I think at this age, though, we should be mature enough to be aware that we should include others and not just leave them out. That's very, I don't know, childish to stay in your own little group. And even myself, I try to look for other new people. And just this year, we met a couple new people that are new to the school, and they already feel like it's just at home because we take it on upon ourselves to be mature enough to accept those people into our group. It's not really the teacher's fault if they're not accepted, because it could happen that they are put in the group and it could end up go both ways, or they could be bullied in that group or something like that. So maybe you let the students choose who they're going to, like, let the students decide to accept them. And at this age, as I said, you should be able to decide, are you going to accept them? You should, because that's going to be life.
But not everyone is like that. I know that we would like everyone to be like that, because then obviously we wouldn't have the problem of bullying or the problem of people being mean and treating other people unfairly in schools. But it's not. Other people like to stay with the same people and like to be with their same group and like to oh, like what is she wearing? Like make fun of those people because they're not part of your group and they're not the same as you. So it's really like and the principal has to do like having a lot of assemblies and like letting the student council do what we do to like have events that let people mingle and let other people like meet new people, like things like that. Like it's not just the students' responsibility because they don't always live up to what their expectations are.
I also think that within a group, there could be a few people who are totally willing to accept new people. But there's some people that don't. They could put down the people who are willing to accept them. I think that make it really awkward in a situation if you want to introduce new people that somebody else doesn't feel so comfortable, to make fun of you afterwards if the person leaves, and things like that. So I think it causes different dynamics within a group of friends, especially a tight group of friends who are used to just being
together and doing their thing together, letting someone else new in school.
But are those the friends you want if they're going to make fun of you for choosing other friends?
Have to ask, because your friends are your friends, and maybe just because one person doesn't feel so comfortable having somebody new in, or maybe they don't have like as good as social skills as you do, or they're quieter, I think it might just be awkward for them to pass that barrier to include other kids.
So what do you think that the school can do, like, as students? Like, what activities and initiatives can students come up with to create, like, this inclusive environment to make kids feel accepted?
We could have more, like, days, like, everyone, like, there's groups and stuff, like, it's all Camp Falcona, but, like, with the older grades as well.
Okay, so what is one word that you guys would describe as safe school environment?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Responsibility.
Yeah, I think trust is a huge thing. You know, to trust everybody.
What does equity mean to you?